Hello and welcome back to Demonology. An actual
An actual plump.
actual plum.
An actual plump.
Hello and welcome back to Demonology, an actual play podcast. We are returning to the House Crosses, and with me we have me. I am with me. I'm Alex, and I'm the medium, and my pronouns are he, they.
I am Siobhan. My pronouns are he, him, and I am playing Benedict Brideshead, a ritualist.
And it's me, Fionn. I was always on my mind, and I was playing, and am playing, the Druid Knight Sir Rumpa Umpa, whose pronouns, like mine, are he, him.
Hi, I'm Felix. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing as Daffodil, who is an elemental Feybound.
Hi, I'm Sen. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm playing Elder, who is a Presidium Knight.
And I mentioned in the middle last time, but not at the beginning, that we hopefully will have Mo joining us later on with Eli Sawthorne. But they can't make it this week, so they'll just show up whenever. But last time we had a little bit of an information drop for Benedict Brideshead that there are on the manifesto of passengers going to Denmark. Why can't I remember the country this is set in? Which are the associates of his nemesis, Desmond Ogborn. And this includes Brian, who is a Crampkin, like little horned demon imp, and Reginald Dunwaldroth.
And Benedict took this incredibly healthily, very measured, and didn't break a chair in two with a weapon.
Benedict punched a hole in the drywall.
It's so hard to have a nemesis and be a straight white man.
So I believe you've got another day before you need to get on the boat and set off. This is probably a perfect day to be moving your stuff into quarters on the ship, if you have not done so already.
Yeah.
And deciding who's going to bunk with who. Oh my god.
Rumpet's going to be doing that incredibly slowly because he keeps on getting into arguments with Fernanda Benanda, his wife, about, just like him going on a ship with Daffodil and spending lots of time with Daffodil, and she's jealous, not of Rumpet, not of Daffodil, because she wants to spend lots of time with Daffodil, and it's okay, it's going to be fine, but it's currently a bit of a mare, and so he asks the Baron if they might bunk up together for his wife's sake.
I was going to ask you the same thing, because if I didn't bunk with you, then I would have to share a room with Alder, and Alder frightens me terribly.
Yes, I was thinking I could probably share with Alda, but I wouldn't want to subject you to Daffodil's presence for an overlong period of time. It is safest if we are together. And also, if you get into another one of your flying halberd rages, I fear I might be able to restrain you.
Yes, it was not my finest moment. I will admit that.
No.
This season dares to ask the question, what's scarier, sexy or scary?
Definitely sexy.
And secondarily, what if sex was scary?
I have sent for my assistant, Jasper Fennywick, not to join us in this ship, but instead he shall take a ship to Denmark as well. He is with a number of books.
Oh, can I send Bernardo with? Can I say Fernanda Benanda with her?
That would actually be very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty good in a pinch, and that will sort out my other problem. Wonderful. Everything is turning up Rumpert.
And in the meantime, I shall look up a list of nobility to whom I might, when we arrive in Denmark, become court magician to.
And then we can have a magic off, and we can show off my magics, and then we can show off your magics, and we can see who is the better and overall the more impressive person.
Yes, it will be quite gay.
For help, remember you are heading to Nyburg, so I might suggest.
And I do know heraldry and genealogy, so can I do a recall test?
So do I.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I also do one?
I think you can help.
Do I get? Can I do heraldry, genealogy, history, and throw in my having learned Germanic by improving oneself?
We're doing a recollection.
Yes.
Right.
So
this can be anybody and everybody who has a useful knowledge. Yes, heraldry and genealogy, definitely Germanic. What was the other one you were throwing in?
History.
History. Yeah.
I got 2 out of those 3, so I'm going to do that as well.
Go for it.
I got a 4.
4, 5. Those are all good. So you're specifically wondering about heraldry of the region. Well, I'll give you a little bit more information about who you are going to meet. So in the letter was mentioned Heinrich Russel. So a humanist writer and statesman, a German, but was awarded the Danish Order of the Elephant by King Frederick II of Denmark.
The Order of the Elephant?
Yes.
Yeah, man,
yes.
they got one of those.
Danish Order of Chivalry, and is Denmark's highest ranked honor. It is the origins in the 15th century. But Heinrich Russel, a prolific astrologer, and so sort of like, the sort of like perfect target for, things. You might be interested in an Inquisition that isn't on the side of the government, but is also, very sort of like closely knit with the king of the time. He is dead. He died 14 years ago, unfortunately.
What was all of this information?
All of this information is because you are going to meet his son's wife. So this guy was a close friend of Lord Stern. Unfortunately, he is dead. But his son, Breda Russel, Breda is the, I believe, he owns the manor in Nyburg. So he is sort of like, he's not Lord of Nyburg, but he is like a very sort of like wealthy, like German who lives in Denmark and like is sort of like under the Danish crown. He is more on the side of Denmark, and he is less well educated and less sort of like doesn't take after his father, but his wife Christence sure does. So being the court magician of Breda Russel might be useful, but also might sort of like ingratiate you in the wrong, like might put you in too deep. So it's best to go with somewhere like Halskov, Slegiza. I don't know how to pronounce anything in Danish.
You can write the name in the channel because I want to see how that name is spelled. Halskov. Ooh.
Halsskov.
Halskov.
Slegiza.
Yeah.
Somewhere sort of like on the other side of the I don't even know, is that a sea? Is that a channel from Nyburg? Because like they've got close links.
Across the channel from Nyburg.
I watched a lot of Borgen to prepare for this. But yeah, Fab, I'll if you want to do your own research, I'll let you just sort of like pick a person, and like you can pick a place as well. Like but I'd recommend being across the channel rather than in the sort of like Nyburg area.
Oh, it's in the peninsula. Sorry, I'm now just looking up Nyburg on Google Maps.
So yes, Benedict will actually, and loading his own things into a ship doesn't sound very Benedict at all. He's going to go down to the docks, just offer out a coin purse to either dock workers or urchins who are willing to carry his things.
Rumpet takes the coin purse and starts picking up his things.
How droll. Very good, Sir Rumpet. Very good.
Yeah, so do you wish to do any sort of like clandestine operation while loading your stuff onto the ship? Anybody at all?
Oh, come on now. Of course we do. I mean, not me, obviously. Nothing clandestine about a man my size.
I feel like the most clandestine might be Alder. Does Alder have any sort of... I'm assuming that you're able to like sneak about and be unseen by your general demeanor of if people look at you, they're terrified.
I mean, yeah, Alder is actually quite offended that nobody wanted to share a room with them. So they ended up going with option A, which was the only option anyways, and that was staying in the brig. That's just a complaint that she wanted to share. I'm not entirely sure.
Benedict will approach Alder in the brig while Rumpet carries his chest. Excuse me, Sir, Lady Alder, Sir, what do you prefer?
Alder
Captain, actually.
Captain Alder turns slowly and faces Benedict and says, "You're ruining the smell. Could you please get out?"
Wait, I have an inquiry for you. An inquiry. So you are, by nature of you being rather frightened, people tend to not look directly at you. I need you to find for me if a certain Reginald Dunwaldrith has already loaded his things onto this ship.
Alder responds, "Yeah, I kind of already went through his stuff and it's nothing interesting."
Pardon me? What? Come again.
I think you'll have to roll to
Okay, let me see if I can remember how to do this.
So,
Space
what
Exclamation mark,
what is
R.
your skullduggery?
skullduggery.
So
Where
looking
would I
at your
find
character
this
sheet,
again?
it's under like the top 5 big stats. It should be under intelligence. Do you have skullduggery essentially?
Yeah, they do actually.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And what's your intelligence score?
1.
1. So that's 2 dice as it stands. Do you have any knowledges that might help you with sneaking about a ship?
What is it in? Oh, knowledges. Oh, anything that could help me with. I have military tactics. Would architecture help? Knowing like how basic layouts work, potential nooks and crannies.
Wait,
Stuff
you
like
can
that.
use your background thingy. The thing from being a thief.
Oh, is that the case of job
Yeah,
thing?
I mean that's kind of like. I mean, thief was at the forefront this whole time.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
I wanted to say earlier on, I think it was in the first session, everyone was was it Daffodil meeting with the captain? In the back of my head the whole time, Alder was in his quarters whilst he was distracted, just stealing what they could.
What's worth doing is I'll say that you should do that anyway, but let's roll as well, because I think it will be useful to have. I'm sorry, I had a nice picture of a ship. It's got. I can't find it. It's not on my notes.
And a good ship.
And a great
So,
ship.
Can you remind me how to roll? I mean, I know
Yes.
the thing.
So
the number,
exclamation mark
2.
R space, and then you've got 3d6, because I'll give you architecture, or like thief also, sort of like between thief,
Okay.
architecture, and add an extra dice onto that.
Oh.
So just roll another d6.
Okay.
Just roll 1, and then
So 1d6.
yeah, just roll 1
Yes.
more.
I think I did that. Yeah. Okay.
Nice, perfect.
Ah.
Oh,
So that's a
excellent.
success. So how would you do this? Because you don't necessarily know which birth is Reginald Dunwaldroth. You don't know what Reginald Dunwaldroth looks like.
Oh,
well,
surely
I
we
know
can
what
have
he
a
smells
description
like.
from Benedict.
Oh yes,
Oh yeah, of course.
Benedict has never forgotten what Reginald Dunwaldroth looks like.
And if that's a bit that Siobhan has, like I can tell you what Reginald Dunwaldroth looks like because I do remember.
I also don't have a description of Reginald.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Reginald is sort of an incredibly posh, dark-haired man with like very elegant sort of mustachios and a little pointy goatee, and he's sort of like quite elegantly pale, one would say, and like quite like fine-limbed. He looks basically like his great-grandparents were well-fed, and that sort of like was a pattern that like kind of happened. And he is sort of a man of leisure. He has that kind of bearing about him, very sort of languid and unbearable to be around.
So I will give you with your 5 that you do not see this man about.
Yeah.
However, because
lying.
you have a success, so you're going to get something out of it. Maybe you find sort of like the most obvious other group here is that there's another group, and there is a group of 5 who have come together. So like you couldn't necessarily tell it from the list, but the next 3 names under Brian and Reginald are also with that group. And they're names that don't stick out to you. They're not sort of like, they're not names that you already know. I could give you some names, but they're from my random name generator. So I won't. Although the first one I pulled was like quite Valentine Culpepper. Jesus Christ.
That's good. That's real good. They should
That's
be
very
important.
good.
What do they look like?
So this is the thing. Like like these 3 people are the epitome of hired toughs. Clearly Valentine Culpepper. Can't even say the name. I'm feeling how I feel looking at the picture of Daffodil. Clearly Valentine Culpepper is more sort of like roguish hired tough. But like there are 3 people who are just like standing outside 2 rooms, like nobody's getting in, nobody's going close, nobody's getting in.
Okay.
The only like possible way at this point without disrupting these people, because there's 3, they can watch the 2 doors that are next to each other in like routines, and occasionally you see just sort of like, I think one of them is constantly watching, the other 2 are loading stuff into the rooms, so you occasionally sort of like see the door slip open. I think inside, I'm going to give this to you, you see a very little man wearing like a big coat and like a big hat, and you see a tail slipping out from under the coat, and as soon as the like the crate that they're carrying like comes in, the very little man just sort of like knocks his head on the crate, and you just hear like a little like and then they push the little man inside, further into the room, like, stay inside. And you can assume that is Brian. So you have confirmation. Oh, Siobhan. My face went Brian. Don't look uninfused. Oh,
How little is this little person?
I swear I'm gonna throw that fucking demon into the sea if I get my hands on him.
Like, I'm thinking like 2.5 foot tall.
So potentially could be smuggled in a coat.
Yeah. This is like it to make Brian look like a person. There would have to be 3 Brians in a trench coat.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know, I think what I'm going to give you for the role is this is definitely the room. Like these two rooms right here. These are definitely the rooms. These people, the hired toughs, are like nobody goes inside these rooms.
Okay.
Ray, you don't know if Reginald is already in the room or not.
Okay.
Like Reginald is not as garish as Brian is to be seen through the door.
Okay.
So yeah, would you like to investigate further? Would you like to go back to the others? You haven't been able to sort of like peek through their stuff, but you know, you could sort of like follow one of the toughs back from where they're picking up the cargo to go and like
that
put
would
it in the
make
rooms.
more sense. I feel like just because like I would say a combination of like military tactics and psychology, like being able to use that and like follow them around, and like my like Alda's main mission is to gather anything shiny and then pawn it off as soon as possible. They're very self-serving. So I think that would be the most likely next step for them.
I think, yeah, if you want to sort of like follow them back to where most of the stuff is, I think they've definitely already loaded up all of the precious stuff. But if you want to just steal some stuff, you're more than welcome to. There's traveling like clothes. There's a lot of stuff. There's like, it's clear that whoever is traveling is staying for a while. And is going over a long period of time. Most of the stuff is sort of like pared down. It's nothing too garish or obvious, but there are elements of like wealth there. Like you can easily steal some like jewelry and like brooches and whatever.
Not jewelry. Alda's looking for the thongs.
Easily doable. Some of Brian's thongs.
Some of Brian's, and one pair of thongs with an embroidered name on the very back. Says Daffodil. Alda freezes up, smells it, throws it on the floor and runs away.
Is it just me, or is Brian's Thongs and it like sounds like a really good band name?
As soon as you said it. But yeah, cool. Do you want to go back to the others and relay the information that there is indeed a headbutty imp on board the ship?
Yeah, but I feel like Alda would only really approach one person, and I think Benedict actually makes sense. I was gonna say Rumpert, but then like Alda wouldn't like so carelessly throw around information to someone they perceive as quite foolish. So
it's a good idea. He's not a supple man.
Hello, I heard there is a little man in here.
Can I see the little man?
I think it is quite funny that now I know that Alda and Rumpert both have the same level of intelligence, but it's very much like the Spider-Man meme of like, this person's an idiot. Can't trust this motherfucker.
This person's a fool.
Before getting on the ship, could Daffodil expend a trinket to like caress the water and ask his patron for a warning?
Yes, but let me look at what that means.
Yes, very much.
It's an ask for guidance.
Ask for guidance.
Because it's cryptic and they respond cryptically, I just wanted to ask if the Morrigan could send one of her birds to just like wake Daffodil up if some shit is happening. Doesn't matter where it is, how it's happening, who is responsible, just like wake up.
Can I clarify? Because you've got Mab on your sheet. Do you have you switched to Morrigan?
I've got Mab. Where it says, what does it say that? That was an incredibly, yeah, it's very wrong because he's elemental. That's not. Why did I do that? That's so wrong. Let me correct that immediately.
Yeah, okay. Let me think for a second.
Only if it's in the night, not like during the daytime. That's not useful to anyone.
Sure. All right. Let's do that. I was going to give you a cryptic vision, but I can give you a cryptic vision to wake you up. Like,
yeah, that's totally fine. Thank you. That's it.
Oh my goodness, these names that I'm generating for these toughs.
Daffodil and his duffel bag will get on board.
Keinberg Trumpington.
Fuck yeah. That's the shit I like.
Trumpington.
That's the good stuff.
She's a scruffy tough.
She's a scruffy tuffy.
She's a scruffy tuffy. Oh no.
Well, you're a terrible scruffy tuffy, aren't you?
And then we've got Turbot Brook. That's more normal. Better than Keinberg Trumpington. If your name is Keinberg Trumpington, I do apologize.
I don't.
I do not. Yeah.
I didn't say what I apologize for. Anyway, any other subterfuges before the ship sets off? I mean, like, how is Benedict responding to the fact that he knows where Brian is?
Well, I want to chime in and kind of make an example of how this information has been relayed. Alder briskly approaches. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name. I'm going to write it down. I'm so sorry. This is not like okay, Benedict.
I mean, I can't remember Denmark, so I think.
Yeah, I think what you've got going on is a bit contagious. Siobhan, can you confirm the name so I don't
Benedict.
Yeah, Benedict. That's what I don't know why it's not sitting in my brain. Okay, and I can't even spell it. Okay. Alder briskly approaches Benedict in the hallways just outside of the rooms and approaches Benedict very, very closely, nose to nose. Eye contact is had throughout the duration of this interaction, and Alder whispers, "Imp. I found it. You must help me."
Thank you, Captain Alder. Could you step back just a little?
I'm going to need you to listen really carefully.
Yes.
Alder reaches into their pocket, slowly pulls out a thong. There's an imp on board.
I am not. Now, while I am a learned man, I am unsure what the undergarments have to do with the imp.
Alder looks at the undergarments.
The clothes make the man.
Reclaims a hard stare with Benedict. They may not have much to do with the imp. That was just a side quest. Do not ask any more of this.
I do not plan to. I think it would be important, Captain Alder, for us to not act hastily until we know why Reginald is going to Denmark. I have my suspicions that he's going to meet his master. At this, Benedict actually has to stop himself from punching a wall again.
The ship's thicker than the drywall. Not Desmond. Oh God, I called Benedict Desmond.
Benedict calls himself Desmond when he's having sex. That's canon.
Alder comes in a little bit closer and moves their nose to the side of theirs and sniffs. Garlic. And a bit of chicken. Wine? Interesting.
Yes, I still find you very frightening. But thank you, Captain Alder. Benedict backs away.
I must go now.
I think we should set off, unless there is anything anybody desperately wants to do on the land before the ship departs.
No.
Fab. So each of you, of course, get the special treatment from the captain, Captain Robert Gorm. Robert Gorm is less salacious and conspiratorial with the people who are like less attractive than Daffodil is simply how to put it. And I think Robert Gorm is also terribly off-put by how to pitch it to Alder, of just like, here's a fanciful tale of the journey that we're about to go on. And then like, I imagine that Alder is not receptive to that in the way that like most of the people that Robert Gorm interacts with go like, oh, very good. Oh, this is delightful. Oh, I'm going on a journey. And I imagine does not get that reaction from, well, actually, I think that could come from Benedict or Rumput. But anyway.
Rumput is pissing in the back of this room into his like next basin of cabin wine. He's like, it's a very good story. Well done.
But then you're all informed that the voyage will take 5 days, at which point you will arrive in Esbjerg, which is a difficult harbour to navigate into. There's lots of little land masses. So on the journey to Esbjerg, going to take 5 days. You've got 5 days. What do people want to accomplish in this time?
Ooh, start some good cabin wine.
Good cabin wine.
Try and work out a way to communicate with Daffodil.
Mm-hmm.
Elder agrees.
And also to foster a sense of camaraderie with the team, which he is primarily trying to do through the first, i.e. cabin wine. Periodically goes into to see everyone. It's like, oh, do you have any sort of knickknacks or little flavorings that you would like to throw in, so this could be a more personal vintage for us as a team, as a unit, as a possible chapter? And then we'll kind of like take little things like some hair from Benedict.
No possible consequences unless you have particular stock in any of these. But I do want to at least roll to see how the cabin wine goes.
Yes,
I believe should be. You've just pitched me a scavenging a little bit.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
In a manner of speaking. I'm happy to roll a scavenging.
I think scavenging is good. And hunting? No. No, I mean about hunting. I feel like you've got
hunting.
I feel like there's something in between. Well, you know, I'll give you a contextual knowledge, considering you said that you've been making this cabin wine over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think you should get bonus dice. So
thanks,
that's
mate.
4 dice.
That's a partial success.
4 is a mixed success. And I know exactly what the mixed success is. I'm very glad you got it. The mixed success is that one day you are brewing your cabin wine, and like outside of the door, you just hear sort of like a rap jewelry on your berth's door.
And I crack open the door and I'm like, good evening.
And you see the grand figure of Robert Gorm and says, hello, friend. I've heard of one of the activities that you've got going on inside of there.
Rumput kind of like sticks out his chin a bit. It's like, oh yes, and what's it to you?
I say we cut a deal.
I'm listening.
I've got some of my own flavorings that might go into your cabin wine, but I need a cut.
We're not selling it, so I can't really cut you into anything.
No, I want a drink of it.
Oh. Oh yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Rumput, who's that? Is it the captain?
Yes, it's the captain. He wants to get into our toilet wine. I mean, no, it's not cabin wine. No one said toilet.
I know you've been pissing in it. We share a room.
You don't know what you're talking about, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, what are your flavorings?
I don't know, but they're good. They're like he takes you down to like the hold maybe, and he shows you some of the food stocks. They're catering to like wealthy passengers, so
All right, I take some
yeah.
saffron.
Totally. Done.
I take some saffron. I'm like, I promise you, I'll put this into the cabin rug.
I don't care what you do with it. I've got my cut now.
What is this with the cut? Are you? Why are you so curious about cutting things?
No, I want some of the cabin wine.
Okay, but this isn't like I'm a kind of merchant guy, so I like to be cut in onto deals. Do you have a fear of missing out?
Cut to the bone. I think he just sort of like his face just sort of like does drop, like almost imperceptibly, but enough for you to know you cut him deep because he just
nailed him.
Yeah, you got it.
Daffodil will walk up behind Rumput and place a hand on his shoulder, and leaning his chin on the other shoulder of Rumput, will just say, now, you can see it on his person. He just likes to collect.
Rumput sort of like very stiffly nods, and then like as he goes past Daffodil, like moves his hips back to hide like the like engorgedness of him, and walks tentatively back to his room with this saffron in hand.
And you'll open the door, and you'll see Benedict reading at his bed, and he'll look at you and say, "You saw Daffodil, didn't you?"
He touched me with his hand and his chin, and I'm getting better at it, but it's well, you understand. Give me a second. And he just like holds his nose and like goes and like really breathes out, and then it just like just deflates himself.
Remarkable.
So together you drink the toilet.
Kevin.
Are there any aims with discovering more about Brian or Reginald or the three toughs, or is this a like when we land we're gonna follow them?
Now I am not. I have no way of doing any ceremonies on a ship. There's nothing for me to do.
I have a different idea. Well, Alda's background trait is that they can watch a space and identify like guard patterns and how to get into it. So I think
I totally forgot about that.
It might be a good idea to get them to just like, I could sit with them in a corridor and just like have conversation, fiddle around with like a cat's cradle or something, and then they can gather this information over a period of time for us to be able to use it.
There is the lay of the land. I think by the end of the first day of the voyage, you know, you've watched them overnight at sea, and you've watched them just sort of like during the day, and this is the night of the I guess this is the night of the second day at sea.
30th of July.
I'm sure it is. I don't know how many days are in July. Off the top of my head, I could do the little rhyme.
31.
I'm not going to do that on a podcast. So.
Well, actually, when did the Gregorian calendar start?
It started.
Okay.
It's starting. It's always starting.
Don't you worry. At least we aren't having to deal with the Orthodox calendar.
So, if you spend a phase of a day casing a joint, you spent way more than that. You can find out any guard patterns, entrances, and ways around them. So. As it stands, the only way into those rooms without being seen by a guard is knocking out a guard and dragging them away, or going in through one of the windows. It seems like Brian alone is in one of the cabins, and it seems like the other berth is for the guards. A guard is always watching both of the doors, at least one, sometimes two. At night, like when most people are asleep, Brian walks out onto the deck to see the moon. Like, you know, is as escorted as possible by like the guards, because you know Brian cannot be seen. Like tucks his little tail in his coat.
The question arises, but where is Reginald?
Yeah. If Reginald comes like out, you have not seen it. Like it is quite possible that Reginald has remained in the berth this entire time, or has not gotten on the ship.
Would there be guards posted at the door as well as with the imp?
Yeah. So like at that point, one person is asleep in the cabin, one person is on the door, one person is with Brian. So your only way around would be to climb down the side of the ship and look in the window to see if there's someone else there.
Can't we have Daffodil?
We don't need to do
guard?
that. I'm actually. What is the distance between the water and the window?
Enough, more than enough. Like, you know, several meters, not several, 2 or 3.
If I were a fish,
I don't know.
Could we argue that I could jump that height?
Ooh, you know when you jump up and down to try and see something on a high thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like, you just don't see the thing on the high thing very well at all.
What if you were a seabird? Would there be a window to rest on?
There wouldn't be a window to rest on, but you could like try and keep pace with pace with the.
I have a different question. The ship
Just
is constantly moving, right?
Yes.
So if I were to use Girdle the Earth, which allows me to fly with the speed of a bird, though not levitating, since the boat is moving, could I just like...
Yes, you can keep pace with it.
What I would
Excellent.
say to that is that what's more subtle, a flying gorgeous person or a man that is a bird that is actually a man, which is what I can bring to the table.
That's perfect.
Yes. Right. So if while we're drinking toilet wine, cabin wine, I imagine we're talking strategy, and Rumfoot will say to Benedict's like, "Is it very important to you that you identify this gentleman in the cabin?"
He works for a witch.
Ah, is he a witch himself?
No, just a toady.
Yeah. Well, with that information in mind, and Rumfoot's going to stand up. Like, is there a little window in his cabin?
Sure. I think all of the cabins have got windows.
He's going to just turn into a seagull.
How profoundly annoying.
I shall open the porthole for you. God be good.
So you fly around, you have to sort of like take a bit of time to isolate the right window, because you know spacings can be difficult, and counting the right number of windows is hard. It is hard.
Mm-hmm. It is difficult.
Yeah, trying like looking up and trying to work out which floor is which on a tall building, impossible. No one can do that, but you do it eventually, because it is very possible. But you get it wrong a few times anyway. Beside the point, you're gonna have to make a skullduggery roll for me, Rumput.
Skullduggery, you say?
Skullduggery, I say.
Can I gain?
You can gain 1 for being a bird. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good lord. Hoping for luck. Incidentally, Rumput's intelligence is 1, and skullduggery is not one of Rumput's skills.
Wait, let me see if I can help in some way.
Can I use my knowledge? Right. Okay. This is what this game is all about. Can I use either my knowledge of veterinary science or Druidic and Fae studies so that I really, really understand bird-like behaviors?
How can I be the most stealthy bird?
No, not even stealthy bird. Just like, how can I be the most bird that I can be, so that no one would think that I wasn't anything other than a bird?
Very, very good. Yes, I think that's a good argument.
I can cast Pious Chantry. People will hear strange singing, but it's a boat. Sailors sing.
It's a distraction.
No, Pious Chantry for Fion's test.
What does that add to my test?
It adds an extra dice to the test.
Right. Well, can I get Pious Chantry and bird behavior?
Yep.
And my knowledge of bird law.
So I'll be looking out the porthole, seeing you flapping up and down as you are, Benedict will lay a hand against his bejeweled cross. Never forget that Benedict's holy symbol is bejeweled golden pectoral cross.
It's badass.
And he will begin to mutter in Latin until you can hear sort of distant song, the distant song of unseen divinities you can hear in your little bird head.
And
I
Daffodil will just sit on the corridor to see if he needs to take care of the guards.
I am going to make you also do a roll, Benedict, because I think that, like, I think it can be a third G. It's sort of like your way of doing it. Like you're trying to do it the quietest you can do it.
Yes.
But also Rumpet, you can roll with a 3,
4d6.
4. Yeah, because you're being a bird,
Right,
being a really good bird, and also magic.
Partial success.
Partial's all right. Partial's good. We're in the right realm.
Aid him, and now let me roll. So it's a 30 test. That is. I also have veterinary science.
No, this is about doing it quietly. I don't think this is about doing it to a bird.
Can I not throw it in? Because that will give me 5 dice.
I think 4 is plenty.
Fine. I just want everyone to know that Benedict is really good with animals.
Who would have thought?
Oh, that's a fail. That's a hard fail. So
That's a hard fail.
So we'll resolve the hard fail imminently. Rumper, I'm going to ask you, because you sort of like perch on the edge looking in, and you see not one, but 2 figures, murky, lit by a single candle. Like, this is the most, like, this is a bad vibes room. Like, they are sat at a table with each other, the same table that is in your berth as well, that is in between the bunks. And there are 2 figures that you can't quite make out, but you could. And this is the partial success, is you're going to have to push it. And, like, what's likely is, you know, you're sort of going to have to sort of like get right up to the window, and you're going to have to just sort of like look right in to the point where it is so not a bird's behavior that, like, if they spot you, which, like, let's be honest, this is what pushing it is, they will, but you'll see who's in there.
Okay, I'm going to rationalize this, is that Rumput wouldn't know how to recognize either of these men anyway. He wouldn't know what he was looking for. So it's good to know that there are 2 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take that information and
what are the sizes of the figures?
Yeah, like, are they large?
They're both, one is more, one is very thin. The other is slightly taller than average man.
One is very thin, the other is very tall. That's so extraordinary. Those 2 are the same metric.
Hey, that's not true. I'm very thin and very tall.
That was exactly my point. You're doing the
The other is, so one is thin but not tall. Well, one is thin but sort of like average height, if not a bit smaller. The other is taller.
Okay.
Like that the person that you would guess is, from the description, Reginald Dunwaldroff, is back to you at the table. The other person, who is just sort of like flickering on the edge of the candlelight, who is the thin and shorter one, is face to you, but you can't quite see.
Can't quite make it out. Out of interest, what test would it be if I wanted to look a bit closer?
You would not be rolling. You would get it, but you would get the consequence. The 4 that, like, this is my sort of like mixed success, is like, I will give you a little bargain.
Oh, you tease, Wilcox, you tease.
Like, you know, whoever is in that room will know that you saw them, but, like, you will have seen them.
And I'm a bird. They won't know who the bird is.
Depends who sees you.
That's true. I'm going to fly away. I'm just going to...
You're gone!
Shit, and just like... and just head up, do a couple more circles of the boat, dive for a fish, bring that up, sit on the crow's nest, eat. I'm gonna have like a little bird thing, so I'm gonna make the most of this, like being a seagull nonsense. And before I fly back into the window.
Meanwhile, Captain Robert Gorm is seen in the edge of the hallway with another sailor. Let's say it is the same sailor as last time. So I was saying earlier, my notes are absolute dog shit. I've got more doodles on this page than I've got words. Wait, no, I do have that. I've got that. That's in my Marianne, same sailor as last time, is speaking to Robert Gorm and like gestures towards Benedict's cabin, and you see this, Daffodil, as Robert Gorm starts just sort of like almost eye rolls, like I knew they'd be trouble, and sort of like starts walking towards the cabin, and says to Daffodil, I've got from next door a noise complaint about this room.
A noise complaint?
Yes, I can hear some sort of singing from inside. It is the middle of the night. People are trying to sleep. Let's not make this voyage longer than it has to be.
Oh, certainly. You see, the wine most delicious with your saffron.
What? This sounds like some sort of... What, is that Latin?
To be completely honest, I am not knowledgeable in what language this is.
Okay. And he goes to knock on the door. Incidentally, Benedict, this is sort of like also the point where like you need to be holding this spell for just a little bit longer.
It's the cinematically most interesting part of the spell.
Benedict is like, a moment, Deus, almost a moment.
Is
like the like we would cut to Rumpert Bird, like just sort of like peeking like head up against the glass, or like on the other side of the ship, just sort of like, am I gonna peck at it? I don't know. I've got an impulse to peck at it. And like you can sort of like feel that this is like the moment that Rumpert needs to be unseen.
Does is the captain still looking at me?
Like, a hand about to knock on the door.
Can I just cast Loss?
Jesus Christ.
That is the perfect use of this
of
spell.
loss. That is the perfect use of loss.
It says the target of the spell will stall, a stranger to their own memories and experience.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'll just
that would end this whole confrontation here. That would solve this whole situation.
Like as before, the tattoos on my body just like drop like glitter sand, and he, I guess, stops knocking.
Yeah, I think. Do you do like? Oh, 1 second, and then he looks at you, and his mind just sort of like blurp, nothing.
No, I cast, and I notice him like stop, and I just go, Captain.
Is that? It's a fair night, isn't it?
Quite pleasant. Gentle waters.
Benedict, you finish the chant. He says, a pleasant music for the evening, of course. And,
Would you still
and
like
it just
to
looks
say-
like
Would you still like to say hello to my companions?
No, it is fine. I must tend to matters of the ship, and like Marianne is just sort of like seeing that you two are having a conversation. So like, you're probably sorting it and making the chanting stopped. So it's fine. And he goes like, very, very good, and a good evening to the lot of you. Turns around, like, what? Oh, very funny, very funny. Brilliant. Yeah, and Rumpert, you get back into the berth.
Kind of collapse into a human form. Well, there was someone sort of matching Reginald's description, but they were not alone. I couldn't make it out who the other person was, but they seemed tall.
I should say for clarity, Brian was out of the berth at that point.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was Brian. It wasn't the imp. It was someone else is in that cabin with Reginald. But I do not know. I would have revealed myself if I had gotten a better look.
By the description, Siobhan, the other figure is not Desmond.
I'm ready to kick the door in if you want. We can
No,
do this loud.
no. We must be subtle. We have time left on this ship. It would not do to have a brawl at sea.
I can turn into a rat tomorrow.
A capital idea.
Or a little spider. A weevil. I can be a weevil and go into one of the biscuits.
Yeah. Older, you see Brian with bodyguard stumbling down the stairs back to berth.
I mean, at this point, I wasn't sure if I was out or like within the vicinity of where the alcohol was. So I was either
up to you if you're not there. I just thought, like, because you were keeping watch earlier, I thought I'd give you some just sort of like the details. The night is drawing to a close as Brian stops looking at the moon.
I see. Okay, so Alda was probably keeping watch, and as they return, Alda swiftly makes their way back to the group. And is there a table in the room? Like,
yeah,
so I can slam my hands on it. So Alda slams their hands down onto the table, and she breathes heavily because she forgot what words were. So she makes eye contact again with Benedict. I feel like Alda is growing quite afflicted towards Benedict.
When you do so, Benedict closes his eyes briefly, glances upwards and says, dear God, strength. Yes, Alda.
They're coming, they're coming back. They're on the way back.
So, it is not Ogborn. It is not the imp. He leans outside of the room. Daffodil, might you know I looked at you in the face?
I could turn around.
No, it's fine.
Another character that has to have conversations with their back to everybody else.
I've actually, it's not as strange as you think. I knew a woman once who walked everywhere backwards.
Is this the one with the pigs?
Yes, it's the one with the pigs. Do you know her?
I know of her. She's apparently grown rather wealthy in pig stock.
She's doing amazingly well. She's doing very well for herself.
Anyway,
continue.
I'm an adult and I must come past this trifle of not being able to look a man in the face. Daffodil, please join us in the room.
Of course. And I walk in and I go, are we being naughty?
Please! I had just
Russel
composed
puts his
myself.
fist through the wall.
Alda lets out a very sharp and then hides underneath the table.
No, Daffodil, no, please. Please unbewitch us. We have little time. Reginald Dunwalworth, he is a servant of a witch, Lord Desmond Ogborn. Now, good Rumpert here became a seagull to fly and see the room.
Yes,
thank you. Here. I sensed that there may have been some interruption to my spell without your intercession. Thank you.
No interruption.
He then looks skyward again. How is everything they say, sir? Never mind. No.
Rumpert holds his hand.
The important thing is that it is not Brian the Imp in the room with Reginald, and 'tis not his master, Ogborn. And the guards, as we know, as Alda has told us, are either outside the door with Brian or in Brian's room. Thus,
or in the room apart from Brian.
The room apart from Brian.
So the guards have a room, and then Brian and the two figures have a room. So they're packed in tight, all of them.
So who is the other person? Suggestions. Rumpert says he may become a rat next night.
Or
what might you do, Daffodil?
I could create the circumstances for us to have most people in their rooms and not meandering across the ship.
You talking about the cabin wine?
I was thinking more Weather interference.
Oh.
Everybody shitting themselves out the window.
Because we can make adjustments to the recipe. If I have everyone on the ship's hair, I can turn it into a mass vision.
And if necessary, you might have noticed I do not make any noise, and I could just disappear from sight.
That would be pretty cool.
Then might
Wait.
it not be better to draw everyone from their rooms?
You make a fair point.
If you become unseen and everyone is drawn from their rooms, it stands to reason that we might catch a glimpse of the mystery man with Dunwaldrith.
Aldo stands up and loudly proclaims, "This was my idea the whole time. Nobody ever listens to me." Swiftly turns towards Daffodil. "So do you do you go here often? Do you come to this here often?"
I do not,
sometimes?
but I might have more interest now that you are here.
Alder, get back onto the table before he speaks again.
Elder is already there.
And also, Pet, next time you want to share an idea, let us know. We might have arrived at the decision sooner.
I did,
Now,
but I was
what-
it didn't come out.
What would thou like to fall from the sky to incite people into being outside? It is but July, so perhaps a bit of snow?
Yes.
That would
Yes,
be
people
cool.
are very, very fond of snow.
Yes, and then I can go out and we can make the snow angels. That
So-
would be
That's an offer
fun.
we must consider.
Yes, Rumpus,
it's-
you are the most, you and Daffodil are the most social of us. You can draw them outside. Well, no, Daffodil needs to go into the room. No, I'm confused. Wait,
I'll do it.
let-
I'll enter
let-
the room.
let me stop looking at you. Benedict looks at the wall.
What
So-
we must do is create entertainment for the passengers in the form of the snow, and then I can vanish from sight and simply walk into the room. You see, any dark magic is not going to affect me.
So yeah, what's the method of changing the weather? You change the weather.
silly
Silly
season.
season. Fabulous. So then somebody is going to roll to incite everybody up to the top of the deck.
Yeah, I mean, not entirely sure I'm going to achieve that, but we'll do our best.
I will
you can
say,
have-
I have better sway than
Yeah, Rumput.
than you. Yeah, I
You'll
have
ha-
performance as well.
You'll definitely get a bonus dice from the snow, of course.
yeah.
And then
And then can I have Older just being downstairs in case something goes wrong?
Alder is your backup.
Yeah, since they are big bad boom boom warrior.
Okay. So is this tomorrow midday maybe?
Sure.
Or is this tomorrow evening? Or what's the where where do you want Brian?
In the cabin, I would imagine.
Okay.
What are we gonna do when we find them?
Oh, actually, what would happen if Brian were outside already and all of these people would like come up and would be able to see him?
It would cause hysteria. It would cause a panic, I expect.
But wouldn't it also prompt the captain to just evict him from the ship?
But that may also, whoever is with Reginald, because we don't know who that is, it might. I really don't want to fight on this ship.
Okay, well then we can do it in the day so that I can replenish my tattoos
Fab.
and have multiple options.
So at the midday, when the sun is high and the wind is nipping as it is, well, no, I guess it's quite pleasant as it's August, but there's still a wind chill, but it's very reasonable on the deck. And there were a few couples who are heading across to Denmark, enjoying the sun on the deck, and there's crew going about amongst the rigging and mopping and all these sorts of things that happen on a ship, I imagine, since I watched Our Flag Means Death. And and I imagine, well, you tell me, Daffodil.
Well, I imagine that I am we are downstairs, right, in our cabin.
Yeah, you maybe.
Right. Well,
I
would
imagine
say-
apart from Benedict, or does Benedict run around the cabins first?
well, he can also be downstairs when the snow
Hmm.
starts to like have an incentive and like get people to. Oh no! Witness what is happening. It is snowing.
Yeah,
It will also last for the rest of the day.
I think Benedict will be down by our berths and will give the knock on the door to say, Daffodil, it's time.
Very well. Well, if anyone else is in the room, I will have to tell them that it would be wise should they turn around given their recent behavior, as in order to make sure I make no sound, I must be rid of my clothes with the exception of my whip.
No.
Oh
Rumpert turns back into a bird and just starts flying out the window.
Benedict will seize Rumpert's legs and say, no, man, you will go blind.
So it's time. Do you do it? What does it look like as snow starts to?
Oh, I just open my arms as I am illuminated by the sun, and as I cast both of them at the same time, I just sort of vanish into glitter.
Love it. And Benedict.
Benedict runs from his room. A miracle, come, see. And it runs about the berth, slapping at doors, calling for people to come and see a miracle taking place.
You like it is the moment in so regardless, it is the moment in A Christmas Carol where it's just like Scrooge. Scrooge is dancing about the street and people just like opening their doors and going, goodness me, snow in August. But Benedict, the main question I have is how do you interact with the guards outside of the Dunwaldroth and Cramplekin residence?
I think the same, right? Why should he be different?
Well, no, I'm just sort of like I just want to double check because this is where the key part of the plan comes in.
Well, I have 3 virtue, and it will shock everyone to know that Benedict actually has compassion.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
I'm going to appeal to the childlike wonder within them through compassion.
Go do it. I can't wait.
Yeah, so that's 3 dice from virtue, 1 from compassion. Do I get another from the snow, or is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Well, then that's 5d6.
Five
Let's hope
dice. Go for it.
Let's hope I don't fuck it up.
Oh,
Wow.
You fucked it up.
3 sixes and then 2 fails.
I
This
think
is-
because you got
Take it.
3
Absolutely
sixes,
take
you have to do the devil's
I'm
bargain.
gonna
I think
have
you
to
have
make
to. I
six.
think you
Gonna
have
have
to.
It's
666. You've got to do it. You've got to do
I
it.
No choice.
I'm
It'd
taking
be
the
wrong not
bargain.
to.
I'm
It'd be
taking
wrong not
the
to.
bargain.
It'd be wrong
I'm
not to.
I'm taking the bargain.
Right. So that I can be so vividly specific with what you see before the bargain occurs, is I imagine, what do you rest a hand on sort of like the shoulder of one of the guards?
Yes.
And like there's
yes.
only one at this point, and the other one's already upstairs, the other one's in the room, they're doing their watches. You put your hand on the shoulder, you take your success, and you see just sort of like, even as you speak, just sort of like a blank expression across their face, and you just sort of like see where your hand is, just sort of like on their shoulder where they've not got any sort of like sort of like shoulder neck, but they've not got any armor on or anything. You see just sort of like a lump like move under their skin, and just sort of like it just sort of like goes like, and like it sort of like it deeply unnerves you in just sort of like a way of like, there's something wrong here, because like, you know, you're rank 7, you're just like, this isn't right. This isn't right. And like because you're successful, they turn to you with, again, the blank expression and say, I love the snow. And they follow you upstairs.
Yeah, as he passes the cabin. Rumpert, come. A miracle. As we get closer.
Rumpet is still a bird.
No, Rumpert's not a bird. Rumpert comes charging up the hallway.
What's a bad miracle called?
And
As you come
even though
charging
he's
by him.
like, he's running again, no sound is made from his footsteps, and he's just sort of like, I'm so excited. I love this
By the way,
show."
Siobhan, roll me 2d6.
D6. Oh, you make me do it.
Oh, yeah. For fun.
That's
sick.
That's
You're a
sick.
fuck.
You're a sick fuck. That's,
It's your bargain.
that's
quite
horrible.
right.
Oh, that's really high.
Oh, this is all right.
That's a control, I think. Is it?
No, don't look at that. Don't look at that. You know.
No, not looking it up. Trying to remember.
Yeah. This is a nice one.
I hope it's the rats. They're always funny.
Wait, at this point in time, are we not like in the middle of the sea?
You are
Yes.
in the middle of the sea.
Excellent.
We're in the sea.
Yes.
We're in the sea, like a certain Rumford.
Okay.
Oh, what am I gonna do? This is such a choice. Yeah, all right. I think I've got to go with that's yeah. As you get onto the top of the deck, it's easiest to open this with a recollection, if you can make it. Can you roll if you've got I've got your character sheet. Folklore, Celtic, Druidic and Fae.
All of
Okay.
those.
3 dice. Oh, also Rumpet, you're there. You've got all of those. Go for it.
Yeah, I got a six.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
fucked
2
that.
successes. I think the 6 is also good in a
On a
recollection.
recall. Yeah.
The two of you just sort of like, I really just want you to say it in unison as you see a Gankana.
Oh shit!
Oh,
And he's
shit.
dancing. So a Gankana is the saucy leprechaun.
It's a
Oh.
sex god. It's a
And,
sex god's child.
The Gankana
no.
is just sort of like got a pipe out the side of his mouth, and he's just sort of like dancing with some of the crew, and like they're all just, and he's just like, "What is delightful? What it's delightful snow in August. You love to see it. You love to see it."
Rumpet kind of nudges Benedict, and he's like, "Did you do that? Were you listening to the voices?"
I have a sense.
Roll
That
up,
might-
folks! I'm only here till morn.
Do you know what?
This is actually
In-
probably helps us.
Elder
In the grand
starts
scheme of
throwing
things,
out
this is a good
little.
thing.
Elder starts throwing out little trinkets and bones.
No, you
In
are
the
downstairs
style.
with me. You cannot throw trinkets.
Oh, am I? Oh, damn.
Oh, wait. I'll see you doing that. I'll say, Alder, go downstairs. Go.
Shit.
So, as this should be our last activity of the eve, let us turn to Daffodil, with Alder on the watch. As do you just open the door to?
As I walk up, am I getting a vision?
Oh, good lord! I suppose you are. The door. You see. You're familiar with the Moon Tarot card and Rider White. Good lord, so you are. It's on your wall behind you. Yes, the door is replaced with this image, like as if it is sort of like designed onto the door. As the moon sort of like splits open, and out in reverse is a tree that descends towards the earth.
Oh, no.
Oh, I know what this is. That's very good. Okay. Noted. We know what we need to do next night. Or this night.
And do you open the door?
Perhaps not this one.
There's bad stuff on the other side of that room.
Oh, Felix, for listeners, could you let them know what that upside down tree might mean?
The upside down tree is an indicator of a god, the dreaming, right? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
so-
I will say that it does not have the little hands.
It doesn't have little hands.
It doesn't have the little hands. It is like that that is a reverse tree where at the end of all of the branches are hands.
Reverse
the-
tree. No little hands.
You know what? Hold. So, let me go in turn. Let me go to the furthermost door, and then come back to this one. I again make no noise and am invisible.
And are naked.
So, for the purposes of everything else that I said before.
I had to take that
Yes.
cock ring off.
Everyone's trying their best
I
to,
did
to
not,
remain composed.
Actually,
Well, if you didn't take the cock ring off, then that's a floating cock ring.
that's not true. That's not
When
how
did
the
we
spell works in
decide
this
that
game.
that the spells didn't when the spell didn't turn your clothes invisible? I'm confused.
They make you invisible, but they make noise. I don't make noise.
Very fair, very reasonable.
Like chainmail would.
So, are you saying that you're going into the guard room?
Yes.
So there is, of course, one guard remaining. They are lying on the bed, assumedly asleep.
Is there anything else happening in this room apart from this guard being asleep?
So, assumedly asleep, their body just sort of like, it does the full-on vampire rising up from sleep as the door opens and just sort of like looks directly at the door, and you just see it like a split second of the guard just hiss a little bit, and on the like floor in this room is sort of like a trail of just sort of like, the best thing I can describe of it is like the slime that a snail leaves behind.
Yeah.
But it's not sort of like it has sort of like a it is slimy and it is gross and it is wet, but it is not it is sort of like a thing. It's not sort of like a slick substance. It is almost like it's a bit like a wet shed snake skin.
Okay. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting. I do apologize. And like the guard is immediately like up and like about to look at the door. So like we'll walk into you, and your choice is either further into the room, straight out of there.
Can Alda body tackle this card?
Not wise just yet.
Yeah. Fine.
Can I just so what is the help me out. So if the layout of the room is I am here at the door.
Yeah.
And is the bed diagonally across from the door or straight in front of it?
Straight so yeah, where your pen currently is.
Right here, yes.
Oh wait, hold on. You're entering like this. So the side of the ship is here. The bed is sort of like down here.
Oh, I can just walk to the other end of this.
You easily
room.
you can be on this. You can be in this.
I make no noise.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I just wanted you to decide if you wanted to be in the room or not in the room.
Yes, I want to be in the room.
Yeah,
Let
fair.
me go. What does
the guard closes the door, looks at it, is fully video game character like Must Have Been the Wind. Goes back to bed and just sort of like sits there, and then like goes and lies, and you see, like Benedict did, the skin just starts to ripple with just sort of like moving masses underneath it. Like I am at rest. I do not need to hide this anymore. And yeah, do you want to pick about the room?
Is there any chance I could
what
just like?
the fuck are they?
Is there any chance I could like snip a piece of that skin?
Oh yeah, you can fucking try.
You can fucking snip, babe.
Snip away.
Do you have Whisper Wind?
That's not in this.
That's me.
No, that's right.
Second question. Wilcox.
Yeah.
How wide is this
How you doing? Calm down.
wetness?
It is sort of like little bits on the floor everywhere.
Okay.
It's sort of like you can easily avoid it, but also like you're probably stepping in it at some point.
Okay. Again, I just want to snip. What do you want me to roll?
Probably a skullduggery, right?
Either that or scavenging.
either are the same. Let's go with this is definitely
I'll just roll 2d6 and you can choose what. Do I get an extra
you get a bonus
invisible?
dice. You get a bonus. Oh yeah, totally take an extra bonus dice from being invisible. So four dice.
Oh my fucking god. Let me just re-roll this.
That's
fuck this. So
Fate
tired.
point. Fate point. There we go. That was going to be a devil's bargain. That's 4.
Excellent. Is
So
that a partial success? What's the consequence?
yeah. So you're not taking the devil's bargain.
No.
No. Okay. The partial success. So the full success is you get a snip. It goes, and you leave. You know, it goes like, something's happened, but I'm gonna go back to sleep or whatever fucking sleep this is. The partial success is definitely going to be that like you escape the room, but it just sort of like starts looking wildly and maybe like catches your hand as you go. Like hand just sort of like slams out, grabs you. You have the snip of skin. You get yourself free, and you're like out of the door by the time that it gets to the door, and obviously has to pretend to be human again. So like this, the thing about a partial success is that that's the situation. That's what happens. It's not a nice little bargain.
So I'll take the partial success, but can't I just like sit exactly where I am and see what he does first?
Oh yeah, if you want to be grabbed. So yeah, I guess it grabs you. You could slip, like just sort of like bolt out. The like partial element of this is like you are known. Like there is something was here. Someone, something magical was here and found a bit of me.
Felix, I would like to know why you'd want to stay in the room.
Oh, I thought that maybe because of the previous description, if it would lunge at the door, that it would lunge and I would wait for it to like relax.
It's like if it grabs you, it's like there's something here.
Okay.
Like you can definitely sort of like it just sort of like starts looking about for where you are as soon as it grabs you, and you can, as a part of the success, I'll let you pull yourself free and run out.
Okay,
or react however you'd like.
I would like to do that, but I will not run. I'll just step outside of the door.
Cool. Happy with that.
Oh, it knows I was there. Whatever. It goes back into the room. I have the piece of whatever.
I think sort of like it's still like hissing a bit, just sort of like, and hissing is sort of like not selling it quite right because it's like a bit gurgly. It's a bit just sort of like I'm making a sound with a body, just sort of like almost zombie-ish, but like the
guttural.
Yeah, it's sort of like whatever sounds I can make, I'm making, and like chases you out of the door, but then sort of like has to act natural as it sort of like looks down the corridor, sees like probably sort of like sees like maybe older, but like maybe doesn't see older, maybe sees another person if you want to remain hidden, and then just sort of like you go back to your room, or you don't, or
I've got other rooms to go in.
Oh, you going in the other room?
I will go and deposit the skin with Older, which I guess they'll just see as a floating piece of skin.
Oh yeah.
I think there's probably a test that needs to be done for that.
There's nobody downstairs.
No, but the thing's watching you.
No, it's fine. It has to pretend too much to be normal, and the floating bit of skin is very small. I don't think it would spot a bit of skin. I'm very happy with this 4 being an escape as well, because it's a freaky thing that you're going to be on a boat with for another few days.
Okay. Can I go? There was another room that wasn't the special door one, right?
No, that's the 2 rooms. The special door one is where Brian is. This is where I keep forgetting his fucking name. Dunwaldroth is.
Okay, and, fine. I imagine I kind of can see how this will happen, but hopefully under the protection of not being able to be hurt by dark magic, I will take Older closer, though not like exactly next to the door, because they have this behave themselves socially alternative enough that people might believe that they're afraid of snow, and I will just like push this door open, not going in.
So I think the other guard is now just sort of like out of the room, notices there's not another guard there, is sort of like closing the door behind them and pretending to be normal guard again, sees the door open, but obviously you get a view inside the room first. You see 2 figures in the room. One is Brian. We know what Brian looks like at this point.
Little Brian.
And you see a figure that is not Reginald Dunwaldroth. And I will read. you see a figure that is just over 6 foot tall, with a slim, rangy build, long, wavy brown hair, and a handsome face. He possesses a series of scars that look like puncture wounds from talons around his neck, as if he was grabbed by it, and held it, I think, is a giant eagle bird thing, and held by something inhumanly strong. He has a pleasant demeanor and will go out of his way to avoid civilian deaths. But he has a real hatred of the establishment. And this figure turns around from looking out the window at the snow and looks into the dead air at the door and sort of like doesn't see you, but goes, "Oh dear." I think we should stop there because the guard is now lunging towards the door to shut the door.
Fuck!
I think we've got to ask you some questions.
Yeah, you do.
I'm in shock.
There's a witch on the boat. Oh no.
Have you learned a new detail that may lead you closer to the demon's hand?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Desmond Ogborn is on this boat.
It's on the boat.
Have you gained a new and useful ally in your fight against the demon's hand?
Does the captain count? Because I hooked him in on the I cut him in on the not toilet wine.
I do think you're close, but I don't think you're there. I'm afraid to say. But
okay.
Yeah. There's a possibility the next time you have the captain and the gunkener, but we'll see about that. Have you formed a closer bond with one of your fellow inquisitors?
Everyone.
I think everybody has. Like, you know, everybody meeting in the first session, there's definitely been a lot of interplay with each other. I'd just invite everybody to say sort of like specific person, specific bond. So Benedict, who have you been bonding with?
I've been bonding with both Rumpert by sharing a room with him, and I imagine helping him make the piss wine.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely some of your piss in there too.
Rumpert.
And Elder, hello.
and Elder, I've bonded with because I managed to have a conversation with them without running away.
And for Rumpert,
I think Rumpert definitely found a bond with Elder from like when they first met. Of this kind of like, all right, you're kind of like a big cat. And I'm gonna treat you. And now Rumpert is just kind of treating Older like a pet cat. That's like.
I feel like this opinion is like something that like Rumpert would actually have. Like, oh yeah, no, we bonded. We're best friends now.
Yeah, no, funny. It's like, yeah, we're good. I leave out sources of cabin wine for it. And obviously Benedict as well for the same reasons. And I think that there is definitely a bond of fear with Daffodil.
Totally.
Yeah.
Everyone wants me.
I bonded with Daffodil because I ate the glitter. I mean, Elder ate the glitter.
Elder did eat the glitter. Elder went around eating the glitter.
And Daffodil.
I mean, my only note for this episode was literally snow and nudity. I feel like that kind of encapsulates my. Everyone wants me, and I am nice to everyone. I have not been rude once.
True. Yeah, fab. So 2 XP for everybody, or 2 prestige as it goes on the sheet. And with that, we'll do an outro and come back next time. So thanks everybody for listening. You can rate us 5 stars on podcast catcher of your choice. That'd be great. Love to see it. You can also find us at Six Planes or Six Planes Games on social media, and you can give us an email at sixplanesgames@gmail.com. We'd love to read and connect with people. That would be real nice. Aside from that, big thanks to Oscar Russel of Watchtower Design. Oscar Russel of Watchtower Design for the fab logo and graphic design, and thanks to Tasha Sofla for the gorgeous music that goes into this podcast. And we're currently raising money for the game to exist and be real. Be real, everybody's apps. I don't know. Anyway, give us money.
More than 300-page book. A book with a great big dumper on it.
Yeah, it's got a huge ass, this book.
There's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
there's a big chance it might have a little like page finder like little cloth string, you know what I mean? One of those.
Be real
That'd be
fancy.
sick. I'd love
That'd be
that.
lovely. Yeah.
Be
So
like a
one of the
sexy
rewards
Bible.
will be a nude poster of Daffodil.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know
Too
what?
powerful.
You know what? If we get full funding, that was a flash of lightning. If we get full funding, we'll just do like a Calendar Girl style calendar
it.
of
I'll
the
do
hottest
it.
That would be
characters in the game.
so
Oh my
good.
God.
That would be
I'll
so
draw
much
it.
fun.
I volunteer.
The most
Sen and
engagement,
Mo can draw it.
the most engagement we ever got on our social media was the thirsty picture of Eli. People fucking love that.
Eli needs to be in that
Yeah,
book.
please
Eli needs to
visit
be in the book.
Demonology on OnlyFans, where we only we only post smart.
Lovely. And with that, thanks for listening. See you all next time. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Come on, it's okay.
So
For listeners, Dennis is Sen's dog and not
Sorry.
a child.
We're getting the thunderstorm now, and he needs his little hood and to be put to bed, but he refuses to go to bed unless I like help him. So come here.
that's very sweet.
It's all right.
Sen, do you have a deeply anxious dog?
He has severe anxiety, which is funny because he's also an emotional service animal. Oh my god, I wish I could show you what he's doing right now. Come here. He's sitting like this. Let me recreate this for you. He's like this. And he will not
You can't
move.
just show us.
I could, but okay, hang on. Hang on.
This is good
Intermission.
podcasting.
Oh gosh. Dennis, no. Dennis, no.
Dennis.
Oh,
Dennis.
Dennis. Oh, Dennis.